Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel or seeking some kind of assistance on getting used to flying in Enlisted, I'm going to do my best here to kind of give you an example on smaller details that I feel that some people might be overlooking. I've trained a few pilots on here on PlayStation 4, and actually a couple of them are actually outdoing me at this point. So one of the things I wanted to focus on, and I'm focusing on US and Germany right now. As Germany, you will fight both US and USSR. As US, you'll fight Germany and Japan. And USSR, really, I've only fought Germany. I've never fought Japanese, and really they didn't have much battles between Germany and Japanese during that time, but that's why I'm focusing on these two, because those are my primaries personally. So what we're going to do is I'm going to look at the most common plane that I shoot down as a German fighter, and I can focus later on attackers, things like that. If there are any planes that you've gunned down or that you get gunned down by, let me know what plane you're flying, let me know what plane you've been gunned down by, and I'll try to find a way to figure that out. And I don't have all my research done quite yet on US side. I've got pretty well what I want on the German side, but the P-47D, that one is one that I run into quite consistently because of its payload. It's got one 500-pound bomb, 850 caliber machine guns with 3,400 rounds between all 8, and 10 rockets. So this thing can be a serious problem air to ground. And although it is a beautiful plane and a staple point of World War II, it is also kind of easy to deal with. I only have a 3-star out of the 6, so mine's not fully leveled by any means, but it's best full turn time. You're going to want to look at that, like these 3 details right here, and you're going to want to look at what guns they're carrying. And like I have said to some of my friends, is know your allies, but know your enemies better. So this thing has an 18.44 turn time. Its max climb rate is 22.30, and max speed is an outstanding 736.55 kilometers per hour. Don't worry about their payload. If they're lucky enough to hit you with their rockets or their bomb, then they're doing pretty good, and they're quite an experienced pilot. I have actually been hit on low altitude by a pilot I was after. He dropped his bombs at the right time on a hill and it managed to hit me, but the chances of doing that are very slim to none unless you're using hacks or cheats. So I pay attention more to their speed, their climb rate, and their best full turn time. So what I'm going to do is switch over to Germany. This is the plane that I fly. This is, in my opinion, one of the best planes in the game. This plane has, with full upgrades, it has 15-second turn time. 15.05, same difference. It's got a little bit higher climb rate, but keeping in mind that the P-47 I don't have fully upgraded, so these things will change if you have them fully upgraded. My max speed is insufficient against the P-47, so he's going to be able to outrun me. That's the first idea that you got to have in your mind, is that he can outrun me, and with a full upgrade he might have a better climb rate, and full upgrade he might be all but equal to what the Fiat can do. On the other hand, he only carries 8 50 caliber machine guns, which is the 12.7 millimeters. So he has better ammo, kinda. I mean, not really, because it's spread between all of your guns. So that 1,200 right there, that's spread between 4 different guns. Then I have a 20 millimeter cannon. 20 millimeters, as long as you still have ammo for that, you will take him down if you can get behind him. I haven't had any problems taking down an enemy aircraft with those 20 millimeters. I only carry 2 100 kilogram bombs, which means I have 1 single drop before I have to go back and rearm my bombs. So when it comes to this kind of situation, you have basically 2 options. He's going to outrun you. He's most likely going to outclimb you, even at a 6-star upgrade for Fiat. So you can either climb to a safe altitude and try to maintain that altitude even if you don't have somebody up there with you, or against you, I guess. You can climb to a safe enough altitude and fully throttle down. Throttle down to 0, let the nose drop. When you do that, he's going to have to do the same thing. He's outrunning you, he's outclimbing you, he's going to shoot way past you. So when he does that and dives straight down, he'll be at a higher altitude, he'll be farther behind you, but with the better turn time, by the time you nose down and he flies past you going up, you full throttle up and you turn hard. At that point, it gives you an advantage to either outmaneuver and get away from him, or at least lose him for a short period, because he's looking up the stars. He isn't looking where you're at. He's not going to be able to see you. For the most part, he might be looking around the canopy, but if he's doing that, he's probably going to crash into the ground anyway. Otherwise, your other option is to use your best turn time to be able to basically outturn him. So instead of pushing your right analog stick all the way forward, or, you know, I don't know for PC or anything like that, but like PC or Xbox, but if you're just barely leading that cursor over your reticule, it's gonna start to drop below your reticule, but you're still taking a hard turn. You might black out a little bit, but that's why I have things with my pilot to be able to handle those heavy gravitational turns. A lot of people don't think that through. When you take too hard of a turn, you start to kind of black out, and then you lose control of your plane a little bit. Like, you're not gonna dive out of the sky or anything like that, but it's that you don't have quite the maneuverability that you would have. Same with climb rate, things like that, it kind of all drops. So at that point, if you take a hard bank to one side, try to keep your nose up, but then if you wait for about 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, if they're still following you, they're about to hit blackout, if they haven't already. So bank hard the opposite direction and pull them the opposite direction. They're not going to be able to rotate their plane quite as quickly. And when you come up behind and you're looking up kind of near them, at that point I usually will put my stick all the way forward so I'm able to look up and see where they're at. Then you can use that to your advantage. I rarely use combat flaps. I've realized it depends more on what plane you're using. Like the P-38, the one that I'm using currently, just because it's pretty decent plane, P-38J. When I do that with this plane, this thing's got some good speed on it. Its turn time sucks, but its climb rate is far better. So it is also a threat to me as well in the Fiat. But its maneuverability is just bad. It's like running a BF-110 G2. That thing's just... it's an insane plane air to ground, but when it comes down to it, it just can't pull the maneuverability. So use your maneuverability to your advantage, but it also, like I said, depends on what plane you're using, what your stats are, things like that. I commonly use the P-51C, but after one single pass, your engine's already overheating. Drop your throttle to 80 and try to keep it at 80 unless you have to speed up. If you get in a aerial fight, dogfight, then you need to, at that point, what I do with this plane is I do hit my combat flaps and I full throttle up, and I don't really worry much about my engine overheating. Personally, I think that's kind of stupid because P-51 Mustang was one of the staple points of World War II. It was one of the best fighters of the time, and there are many, many, many battles fought and won by P-51s. Enlisted, they know a decent amount, but they don't know everything. I mean, this is a P-51 Tuskegee Redtail, yet I have a white pilot. No. The Tuskegee Airmen were the Redtails. They flew out of Iowa. They were in Tuskegee, Iowa, where they were trained primarily, and they had a long, hard fight to get to where they were, but they ended up being some of the most incredible pilots of World War II. They saved multiple bombing crews. They were bomber interceptors. There was a single pilot that, if I remember correctly, took on 64 German fighters and attackers between Bf-109s and Bf-110s by himself. His entire crew had split off to fight other Bf-109s that had come in to intercept them. That was a P-51D, I believe. I'm not entirely positive. That would be this particular plane, which is not much different, really. Its engine's still going to overheat on you. Its turn time is still less than the Fiat G55. Fiat was an Italian-built plane used by the German army in late 45 and was designed to outmaneuver, outrun, and outgun the P-51 Mustang because it became such a threat. The P-47 was also used a lot during that time. It's called the Thunderbolt, and is one of the most major staple points of World War II as well. So these planes have kind of been nerfed a bit on Enlisted, but it's to kind of equal everything out. So what I suggest is learning the aircrafts, learning the tanks, learning the ground crews of each country that you go against, and just kind of getting familiar with their setup and how they work. And each pilot's going to be different, but it's knowing your enemy enough and knowing what they're using to be able to do better than them, especially when it comes to using tanks and aircraft. So I hope that this may have been beneficial to somebody. If you need more details, or you simply have a situation like, say, you're flying the P-38 and you're getting gunned down by the Fiat all the time, then let me know in the comments, and I will post a picture, I'll post a video. I'll even run those planes and kind of help to show or explain how to do it. But if you say exactly that, you know, P-38 versus Fiat, it's going to be hard for me to get a good video of it actually happening, because although I do run into them often, they're on both sides. The chances of me running into them often enough is going to be a little difficult. So I will get videos as soon as I can at that point, but I can at least explain the way through that. So I hope this helps somebody out there, and I wish you the best of luck. And to pilots, just keep an eye on your altitude as often as possible. You got a lot to watch for, and watch your tail as often as you can, because sometimes you won't hear the enemy plane coming up behind you, but if you look behind you, you can see those tracers and you can start out maneuvering right then. Just understand that they're far enough behind you that you're not hearing them, so at that point they're going to have kind of a better position to be able to fire at you while you're turning. So keep that cursor, that targeting reticule moving. Go right to left, dive upside down if you have to, whatever you need to do at that point. Rolling, barrel rolling, I've seen that happen a lot. That does not work. I, as a pilot, I'm not going to shoot for your wings. I'm going to shoot for the center of your plane, your fuselage, because I'm either going to take off your tail, I'm going to light your plane on fire, or I'm going to shoot you through the canopy. So barrel rolling does not work as efficiently as people think. Maybe roll once and then pull one side, because then they're like, okay, which direction is he going? But really, in my opinion, been there multiple times as the attacking pilot, and it doesn't throw me off very well. Sometimes it will, but just sitting there barrel rolling or going perfectly straight, not gonna work. And with planes like the BF-110, I didn't mean to do that, they're very, very efficient planes, but they kind of suck air to air. But you do now have control of your tail gunner. When you take control of your tail gunner, you're going to lose control of your pilot. So whatever you leave your pilot doing, if he's diving towards the ground and you switch to your tail gunner to shoot at the enemy pilot, you're going to die. You're most likely going to hit the ground. And those guns kind of suck, especially on the BF-110. So, you know, it's all little details. Pilots kind of have it a bit more difficult than tankers, in my opinion. I have run tank, I'm just not that good at it. Some tankers I know are very, very, very good. Some are not. Like me, I pretty much get one shot in a tank almost every time before I can even take a shot. So, it's all in your personal preference and all in how much you know about your enemy tanks and your enemy planes, things like that. I am not particularly touching on ground crew this particular time, but if that's needed, I will do that as well, as much as I'm able to. So I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, leave comments, everything's appreciated. Thank you guys.